Shadow of humanity. The silence of deep space enveloped the Invictus as it glided between the stars, its obsidian hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The massive human warship, nearly 3 kilometers from bow to stern, moved with deliberate purpose toward the heart of Galactic Confederation territory. For centuries, humanity had been relegated to the fringes of galactic politics, treated as barely evolved primates by the established powers that govern the stars. That was about to change. On the command deck, Captain Eliza Reyes stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the holographic display as it tracked their position relative to the nearest Confederation outpost. 36 hours until they'd be detected, if the Confederation's sensors were as good as Earth intelligence suggested. Her weathered face, marked by 2 decades of military service, remained impassive, betraying none of the tension that gripped her crew. "Navigation, maintain current trajectory," she ordered, her voice calm but commanding. "Stealth systems at maximum efficiency." "Aye, Captain," Lieutenant Omar Chen responded from his station. "Stealth field holding at 98% effectiveness. We're practically a ghost." Reyes nodded. The Invictus was mankind's masterpiece, the culmination of 50 years of secret development after the humiliating Treaty of Proxima Centauri, the treaty that had confined humanity to their solar system and a handful of nearby stars, deemed too aggressive and culturally immature to join the Confederation as equals. Chief Engineer Kaido Nakamura approached, datapad in hand. "Captain, the quantum displacement drive is running perfectly. We're maintaining FTL-5 without any thermal signature. The aliens won't see us coming until we're right on their doorstep." "And the Prometheus protocol?" Reyes asked quietly. Nakamura's expression grew solemn. "Ready for deployment on your command." The Prometheus protocol was the ship's final ace, a technology so revolutionary that its very existence violated 17 different Confederation laws. But then again, so did the Invictus itself. Earth had been playing by the Confederation's rules for too long, watching as human colonies were restricted while other species expanded freely across the galaxy. "Commander Taylor, assemble the senior staff for final briefing in 1 hour," Reyes ordered her XO. "It's time everyone understands exactly what we're about to do." "Yes, Captain," Taylor replied with a crisp salute. Across the vast expanse of space, on the Confederation monitoring station, Vigilance 7, Junior Sensor Officer Chris Tall of the Venlaxian species tapped his upper appendage against the control panel in boredom. His 8 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of tedium among his kind. The Outer Rim monitoring assignment was considered punishment duty, a place where careers went to die. His console suddenly emitted a soft chime. Chris Tall straightened, all 8 eyes focusing simultaneously on the readout. Something had triggered the long-range gravitational wave detector, a minuscule distortion in space-time that shouldn't be there. "Senior Officer Dave Moore," he called, his voice rising in pitch. "I'm detecting an anomaly in Sector 87 Kappa." Dave Moore, a veteran Venlaxian with battle scars across his carapace, moved to the console with surprising speed for his bulky frame. "Classification: unknown, sir. It doesn't match any registered Confederation signature. The distortion pattern is unusual." Davmore's primary eyes narrowed. "Direction and speed. It's heading directly toward the Confederation core worlds." "Speed is..." Cristal paused, recalibrating his instruments. "Impossible. If these readings are correct, it's traveling at FTL-5. A heavy silence fell over the monitoring station. FTL-5 was theoretical technology, something the Confederation's best scientists had deemed impossible without generating enough heat to be visible from half a galaxy away. "Alert Confederation Command," Davmore ordered, mandibles clicking with agitation. "Priority Alpha." Within hours, the news had spread through the Confederation's upper echelons like wildfire. In the Grand Spire on Celantis Prime, the capital world of the Confederation, Supreme Counselor Ezorix paced the circular chamber, his translucent wings vibrating with anxiety. "How is this possible? He demanded of the gathered emergency council. No known species possesses technology capable of FTL-5 travel without detection. Admiral Vreelan, the Confederation's most decorated military commander, manipulated the holographic display at the center of the chamber. The trajectory is precise and unwavering. This is no natural phenomenon. It's a vessel, and based on our projections, it will reach the Raxian Gateway in less than 20 standard cycles. The Gateway is our most strategically vital installation in that sector. Councillor Tella of the crystalline Corsian species noted, her facets gleaming with concern. If hostile forces were to gain control of it. We don't know that they're hostile, interjected Ambassador Noor, the only Terran representative allowed in Confederation governance, a junior diplomatic position with no actual voting power. All eyes turned to the human, gazes ranging from suspicious to openly hostile. Do you know something about this, Ambassador? Azorix asked, his tone dangerously calm. Noor kept her face carefully neutral. I know only what my government has shared, Supreme Counselor. Earth has maintained strict compliance with the Treaty of Proxima Centauri for over 5 decades. It wasn't technically a lie. The Earth government had indeed shared nothing about the Invictus with her. Plausible deniability was part of the plan. What she knew came from other channels. Regardless of origin, Admiral Vreelan continued, I recommend deploying the 7th Fleet to intercept this anomaly before it reaches the Gateway. Aboard the Invictus, Captain Rice addressed her assembled senior staff in the secure briefing room. 30 faces looked back at her, the best and brightest Earth had to offer, selected from every nation and colony. In 18 hours, we will enter Confederation-controlled space, she began, her voice steady. At that point, we expect to be challenged. The Confederation will demand identification, purpose, and likely our immediate withdrawal. She activated the central display, showing the tactical projection of their route. We will not comply. Our mission remains unchanged. Proceed to the Raxian Gateway and secure it by any means necessary. A murmur rippled through the room. Questions? Rice asked. Commander Asher Singh, tactical officer, spoke up. Captain, the 7th Fleet is stationed near the Gateway. We're talking about 50 capital ships with thousands of support vessels. Even with our technological advantages, those are difficult odds. Rice nodded. That's why we won't be fighting them. Not conventionally. She activated another display, showing the detailed schematics of the Prometheus protocol. The room fell silent as the officers studied it. This changes everything, Dr. Sophia Chen, the ship's chief scientist, whispered. It certainly does, Rides agreed. For too long, humanity has been treated as an evolutionary footnote in galactic politics. The Confederation has exploited our worlds, restricted our growth, and dismissed our potential. With the Gateway under our control, Earth will have a seat at the table, not as supplicants, but as equals. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, communications officer, cleared his throat. And if they refuse to negotiate, Rice's expression hardened. Then they will learn why their ancestors feared the dark. Back at the Raxian Gateway, the massive installation that controlled the artificial wormhole network connecting the Confederation's territories, Fleet Commander Tazral received the alert from Confederation Command. His crimson scales flushed darker with concern as he reviewed the data. Deploy all sensor arrays, he ordered. I want visual confirmation of this anomaly the moment it enters detection range. Commander, his second reported, the 7th Fleet has been mobilized and will arrive within 6 standard cycles. Tazral nodded. 6 cycles would be cutting it close based on the anomaly's projected arrival time. Activate defense protocols and begin civilian evacuation procedures. Until we know what we're dealing with, we take no chances. As the Gateway hummed with increased activity, long-dormant defense systems powering up for the first time in centuries, the Invictus continued its inexorable approach. On the bridge, Captain Rice watched as the starfield on the main viewscreen shifted, indicating their transition to the final approach vector. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen called from the navigation station. "We're being scanned. Primitive gravitational wave detection. They've spotted us." Reyes allowed herself a small smile. "Right on schedule. Maintain course and speed. Let's see how they react." Within minutes, the communication system chimed. "We're receiving a transmission from the gateway, Captain," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson. "Standard Confederation protocols, all frequencies." "Put it through," Reyes ordered. The view screen shifted to show the scaled face of Commander Tazril, his expression severe. "Unidentified vessel, you are approaching a restricted Confederation installation. Identify yourself immediately and alter course or face immediate defensive action." Reyes stepped forward, standing tall. "This is Captain Eliza Reyes of the Earth warship Invictus. We will not be altering our course." Tazril's eyes widened in shock. "Earth, the Treaty of Proxima Centauri explicitly forbids human vessels of this class from entering Confederation space. Return to your territory immediately or—" "The treaty is no longer in effect," Reyes interrupted. "As of this moment, Earth is asserting its sovereign right to free passage through the galaxy. The Hraxian Gateway will be our first port of call." Tazril's scales flushed nearly black with anger. "This is an act of war, Captain. The Seventh Fleet is already en route. Your single ship, no matter how advanced, cannot hope to prevail." Reyes merely smiled. "We'll see you soon, Commander." As the transmission ended, the bridge crew of the Invictus exchanged tense glances. "They're charging weapons," reported Commander Singh from Tactical. "Defense platforms are activating." "Deploy countermeasures," Reyes ordered calmly. "Initiate Phase 1 of the Prometheus Protocol." Singh nodded and entered a complex series of commands. From specialized ports along the Invictus's hull, thousands of microsatellites deployed, spreading outward in a carefully choreographed pattern. Each one contained a miniaturized version of the ship's quantum displacement technology. As the Gateway's first defensive volley launched, a barrage of energy weapons designed to cripple approaching vessels, the microsatellites activated simultaneously. The space around the Invictus seemed to ripple and distort. On the Gateway's command center, alarms blared as sensor officers reported in panic. "Commander, the human vessel, it's gone." One cried out. "Impossible," Tazril snarled. "Find it." "Sir, we're detecting multiple signatures, thousands of them, surrounding the Gateway." Tazril stared in disbelief at the tactical display. Where there had been one human warship, now thousands of identical signatures surrounded his installation, each registering as the Invictus. "They've created sensor ghosts somehow," he realized. "But which one is real?" As the Gateway's defenses attempted to target the Phantom ships, the real Invictus continued its approach, hidden among its own decoys. Captain Reyes watched with satisfaction as the confusion unfolded. "Humanity has been underestimated for the last time," she said quietly. "Set course for the Gateway's main docking terminal. It's time to introduce ourselves properly." Defiance and diplomacy. In the Grand Council chamber on Celantis Prime, chaos had erupted. The emergency meeting of the Confederation's highest leadership had devolved into shouting and accusations as the holographic displays showed thousands of identical warship signatures surrounding the Hraxian Gateway. "This is precisely why humans were restricted," bellowed Councillor Grax of the militant Thoraxian Empire, pounding his armored fist on the table. "They are too unpredictable, too dangerous." Supreme Councillor Ezorix raised all four of his limbs, calling for order. "The Seventh Fleet will arrive in 3 cycles. Until then, we must determine the humans' intentions." Ambassador Noor stood silently at the periphery, her face betraying nothing while her mind raced. The Invictus had moved faster and more boldly than even Earth's most optimistic projections. Whatever happened next would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. "Ambassador," Ezorix turned to her, his compound eyes reflecting the chamber's lights. "Contact your government immediately. Demand they recall this vessel." Noor stepped forward. "With respect, Supreme Councillor, I lack the authority to make such demands of my government, but perhaps I can offer some insight into human thinking." "Please do," Azorix responded dryly. "Humans don't respond well to containment," she began. "For 50 years, Earth has honored a treaty that many consider fundamentally unjust. We've watched as Confederation members colonize systems bordering our territory, while we remained confined to a handful of worlds. If this ship is indeed from Earth, its presence suggests my people are finally demanding equal treatment." The council chamber fell silent. "Are you justifying this act of aggression?" Admiral Vreelan asked incredulously. "I'm explaining it," Noor replied evenly, "and offering a suggestion. Negotiate with them as equals, not as subordinates. You might be surprised by the result." At the Raxian Gateway, Commander Tazrel faced a tactical nightmare. His sensors could not distinguish the real Earth warship from its thousands of identical signatures. Every attempt to target one simply caused it to multiply further, creating an ever-expanding cloud of phantom vessels that now completely enveloped the massive installation. "Sir, we're detecting an energy buildup at Docking Bay 7, reported his sensor officer. "Something is attempting to breach the airlock." Tazrel bared his sharp teeth in frustration. "Deploy security teams to all docking bays. Authorization for lethal force granted." Aboard the Invictus, Captain Rice led the boarding party herself. Dressed in advanced combat armor, she and a team of 12 specialists prepared at the ship's main airlock as the vessel completed its docking sequence with the gateway. "Remember," she addressed her team, "we're here to secure the Gateway Control Center, not to start a war. Non-lethal measures where possible, but your lives come first." "Yes, Captain," they responded in unison. As the airlock cycled open, they were met by a contingent of Confederation security forces, weapons raised. "Surrender immediately," the Confederation commander ordered, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into standard Galactic. Reyes stepped forward, her helmet retracting to show her face. "I am Captain Eliza Rice of Earth. I am here to speak with Commander Tazrel regarding the future of this installation." Before the security team could respond, Engineer Nakamura activated a device on his wrist. Every electronic system in the docking bay, including the Confederation Forces' weapons and communication devices, suddenly went dead. "Targeted EMP," Rice explained to the stunned aliens. "Your equipment will reactivate in approximately 20 minutes. By then, this conversation will be over. Now, please take me to Commander Tazrel." Faced with superior technology and unable to call for backup, the security team had little choice but to comply. Minutes later, Reyes stood in the Gateway's command center, face to face with Commander Tazrel. The reptilian commander's scales had paled to a light orange, a sign of extreme stress among his species. "You have committed an act of war against the Confederation," Tazrel hissed. "When the 7th Fleet arrives—" "The 7th Fleet is irrelevant," Reyes interrupted. "At this moment, every Confederation vessel within 10 light years has been surrounded by our microsatellites. Their navigation systems are compromised. They're not coming." She stepped closer. "But I'm not here to fight, Commander. I'm here to negotiate." Tazrel's eyes narrowed suspiciously. "Negotiate what exactly?" "Humanity's place in the galaxy," Reyes stated simply. "The Treaty of Proxima Centauri ends today. Earth demands full membership in the Confederation with all rights and privileges thereof." A harsh laugh escaped Tazrel. "You think one ship, however advanced, can force the Confederation to its knees? We span thousands of worlds across 3 spiral arms." "This isn't about military might," Reyes countered. "Computer, activate the Prometheus Protocol. Final phase." Throughout the gateway, holographic projectors sprang to life, displaying complex mathematical equations and engineering schematics. The Confederation officers stared in bewilderment at first, then growing horror as they recognized what they were seeing. "Impossible," whispered Tazrel. "The quantum displacement drive," Reyes confirmed. The technology that allows us to travel at FTL-5 without a heat signature. The same technology that created our Phantom fleet. But that's just the beginning. She gestured to the displays. These schematics detail advancements in 50 different technological fields. Propulsion, energy generation, medicine, terraforming. Breakthroughs your scientists estimated would take centuries to develop. Earth achieved them in decades. Why show us this? Tazrel asked, his voice barely audible. Because technology should unite us, not divide us, Rise answered. Earth doesn't want war. We want partnership, equal partnership. These innovations could transform life throughout the galaxy, but only if we work together. As the implications sank in, the command center fell silent. The technology displayed around them represented a paradigm shift in galactic development, one that could not be ignored or suppressed. Tazrel studied Reyes carefully. And if the Confederation refuses your terms? Reyes's expression hardened. Then we publish these schematics to every world in the galaxy simultaneously. The technological balance of power shifts overnight. Some will use these advancements wisely. Others won't. The resulting chaos would destabilize the Confederation beyond repair. That's extinction-level blackmail. Tazrel growled. That's diplomacy, Reyes corrected. Earth has been patient, Commander. That patience has run out. On Celantis Prime, the Confederation Council watched the exchange through the Gateway's transmission system, stunned into silence. The implications were clear. Either accept humanity as equals, or face a technological revolution they could neither control nor contain. Ambassador Noor stepped forward once more. Supreme Counselor, if I may, this is an opportunity, not a crisis. Imagine what we could accomplish together instead of in opposition. Azorix's wings fluttered in agitation. Your government planned this from the beginning. You knew. Noor smiled diplomatically. I knew humanity would eventually demand its rightful place among the stars. The method was unexpected. After hours of heated debate, the Confederation Council reached its decision. Supreme Counselor Azorix himself opened the communication channel to the Gateway. Captain Reyes, he began formally, the Confederation has voted to accept Earth's petition for full membership, effective immediately. The Treaty of Proxima Centauri is hereby dissolved. On the Gateway's command deck, Reyes allowed herself a genuine smile. A wise decision. Supreme Counselor, Earth looks forward to working alongside the Confederation as partners in galactic prosperity. There will be conditions, Azorix warned. Oversight committees, technology sharing protocols, security guarantees. Of course, Reyes agreed. We'll begin discussions immediately. Commander Tazrel has kindly offered the Gateway as a neutral site for these negotiations. Tazrel, who had done no such thing, merely nodded stiffly. As the transmission ended, Reyes turned to her crew. Recall the microsatellites and stand down from alert status. Inform Earth that Phase 1 is complete. The real work begins now. In the following days, delegates from across the Confederation arrived at the Raxian Gateway. Many came expecting to find a hostile, aggressive human presence. Instead, they discovered Captain Reyes and her crew already working alongside Gateway personnel, sharing knowledge and building relationships. The Invictus, once perceived as a warship, began to reveal its true nature. While heavily armed, the majority of its massive hull contained scientific laboratories, diplomatic facilities, and cultural archives, a floating embassy representing the best of humanity. 3 standard weeks after the Invictus's arrival, the formal signing ceremony took place. Earth became the newest full member of the Galactic Confederation, with Ambassador Noor elevated to full counselor status. The quantum displacement technology, carefully regulated, began to revolutionize interstellar travel throughout Confederation space. In her private quarters aboard the Invictus, Captain Reyes recorded her final log entry before the ship would begin its journey home. Humanity's gambit has succeeded beyond our highest expectations, she noted. By demonstrating both our technological prowess and our willingness to share it, we've secured our place in galactic affairs for generations to come. She paused, looking out at the stars through her viewport. Some will call what we did an act of aggression, even blackmail. Perhaps they're right. But after 50 years of being marginalized and contained, humanity had no choice but to demonstrate our value in terms the Confederation would understand. She smiled to herself. The irony isn't lost on me. To prove we deserve to be treated as equals, we first had to prove we could have conquered them all. Such is the paradox of power in this galaxy. Reyes closed her log and prepared to lead her crew home, not as conquerors returning in triumph, but as diplomats who had forever changed humanity's destiny among the stars, not through force of arms, but through the most human quality of all, the audacity to demand more than what they had been given. As the Invictus disengaged from the gateway and set course for Earth, the thousands of stars visible through the viewscreen no longer seemed distant and unreachable. They had become beacons of possibility in a galaxy that now finally belonged to humanity too.